Do you find it easier or more difficult to write about your own message as opposed to like what you've done in the past with writing video game satirical raps and whatnot? Like, do you find it like more easier to articulate yourself in that form, or easier to work with the pre-made materials of video games and stuff, or is there any difference at all?
I often have said that when working with like video games, um, I'm very thankful that I did have that season of specifically working on video game related music, because it was something that I hadn't done. The concept of trying to personalize or to take an existing story that is something that you did not live through,
Right.
and make it an effective song, is quite a challenge that I hadn't like put myself through. I think, which is why
Right.
you see a lot of surface level video game songs. It's just like reference,
Yeah.
reference. You know what I'm saying? Look at Mario in
Yeah.
his red hat, jump and
Right.
get a coin.
But then meanwhile, like a good example of something that's not like that is your Star Fox rap, right? Where you
Yeah.
literally put yourself in Fox's shoes to make a song about his dad or whatnot. You found that, like, do you find that more difficult than articulating your own message, or do you think it just kind of goes hand in hand?
I think it does. I think it does go hand in hand. You always have to write. I think any writer from any plane of media will tell you this. You have to write from a true place, regardless of where you write it from. So, for example, take that Star Fox rap, because it is a perfect representation of. So Star Fox, the story is that a pilot lost his dad, right? And he's going on an adventure, or he's trying to either avenge the death of his father by taking out his father's killer, whatever it is. But you know, that's the story that we see, but we don't really think about like, oh my gosh, someone who grew up with, I didn't grow up without my dad, so
Right.
now I have to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because I haven't grown up with my dad, the only person at the time whom I had lost was my grandfather. So when I was working on the Star Fox song, you're kind of going, there's a bit of this, there's this thing that's happening where, yeah, I'm referencing Star Fox, but mindfully I'm thinking of my grandfather.
Right. And that can be found in a lot of your songs too.
Oh yeah, big time. And I think that roots it. That roots it in a very true and genuine place. There's a lyric in the Star Fox rap where it talks about something about having a dream, and everybody around is acting like the dad's there, but he's not, or whatever. I can't remember the lyric exactly, but that was a dream that I had about my grandfather, and I was able to that I was able to creatively sort of just like interweave that experience that I had, which at the time, you know, when someone passes in your life, it's very common to dream about them, that they're there again. And so it was shortly after he had passed that I had that dream, and I woke up shook because I hadn't had one very, very close to me like him pass yet, nor have I had a dream about it. Yeah. So when it came to the Star Fox thing, because I had thought about that, it was very seamless to interweave it.
Right.
And that's where the emotion really comes from. Like if you watch the video, I guess, of me like performing it, obviously I don't give a crap about Star Fox's dad passing. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who does, really?
Fictional character, not even in the game, really. So.
Yeah, like, you know, he shows up at one point.
Yeah, he comes back, so it's like, why does it even matter?
Yeah, he shows up and he's got, you know, he's like Star Fox's icon with glasses.
All we know is that he's got glasses. That's the only thing we know.
All we know. That's it. And so, you know, obviously I'm not that emotional about some anthropomorphic fox's dad.
Yeah.
But what I am projecting is the loss of my grandfather through that performance.
Well, and it's clearly like effective too. I mean, I looked through some of those comments, and like so many of the comments were just saying like, Luke, are you all right? Like, they're saying like, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. Some people really took that as like, this is his experience or whatnot. And that's because you were channeling something personal into it. And so in a way, it's kind of like you've always kind of been articulating your message, even if it's just through essentially a different medium of parodying songs as opposed to making your own, right?
Yeah. And that in and of itself has been that was a fun challenge for that time.
Yeah.
And I think it was crucial. It was an interesting step, unexpected. I never, if you would have asked me this 6-7 years ago, this is not what I would have ever have thought to have done.
Right.
But it brought me to, in a way, like I've been doing music for such a long time, so this may sound weird to say, but it was almost the last step to helping me realize what I wanted my music to become.
Right.
And what kind of music I valued. And so I'm very thankful for that in that regard, for sure.
Right. Well, and I think that's what really sets you apart from other artists too. Like you said, there's some raps out there. I'm not trying to downplay anybody, but like there are some raps out there that stay a little bit more on the surface level. The reason I feel so attached to your work though is because you really get into that emotional side and bring up the personal experiences and stuff. So. Hey there. You just watched a clip from my creative podcast. If you'd like to check out the full episode as well as other episodes as soon as they come out, you can support me over on Patreon for the $3 tier, or you can just subscribe here and wait for clips and podcast episodes to come out eventually.